The new Ducati Multistrada V4S Grand Tour is full to the brim with technology, top-end parts and power. So does that make this the best performance tourer on the market? This bike has got so much on it that I really didn't know where to start this video. So I thought, you know what, let's get the price out of the way and we can move on from there. This bike is in the exact specification as if you would roll it out of the showroom door. There's no optional extras on it, and in this spec it will set you back 23,595 of your finest British pounds. That is a lot of money for sure, but so far I have found it wanting for nothing. It has got absolutely everything on it that you could possibly need. Electronic suspension, quick shifter, radar adaptive cruise control, heated grips, heated rider seat, heated pillion seat, smartphone connectivity with full map GPS via the TFT screen, keyless ignition, auxiliary lights, cornering lights, blind spot detection, centre stand, tyre pressure monitoring system, backlit controls and hard side panniers. That is a lot of stuff, and the only thing that hardcore tourers will say it's missing is a shaft drive, but that is another discussion for another time. In terms of specs, well, let's start with the beating heart of the beast and this fantastic 1158cc V4 motor that puts out 170 horsepower and 125 newton meters of torque. It's creamy smooth and there seems to be power on tap wherever and whenever you need it.
This, as you can expect, is an absolute missile. Such a nice engine, and there's a glorious noise from that. What is a very small exhaust at the back there. I know that the cat and the collector box underneath might be quite chunky, but in terms of the exhaust at the back, tiny little thing, it is an absolute hoot to ride. I have to be careful obviously with these speedos are very easy to see, but it's the sort of engine that is just a joy to ride. And even if you're sort of pootling around, so fourth gear here, 37 miles an hour, 3,000 revs, there's still tons of pull on it. The quick shifter is sublime. So slick, so smooth, there's no joltiness to it. I've not had one single miss shift with it, both up and down. It's just a glorious engine. There's been lots been said about that. You know, there are issues with it in terms of the cost of servicing, belt changes and stuff like that, but the valve check clearances are now 24,000 miles. The only caveat, I guess, to the engine and its performance, well, there's two. One is the fuel consumption. You can't have an engine like this that's doing what it's doing and not be a bit thirsty. Yeah, decent sized tank, and I'll put the size on the screen here. When you fill that up, optimistically, the range on there will say something like 220, 230 miles. In reality, what I found, and this is riding it in mixed conditions and not really going mad, that's more like 170, 180. This engine does kick out a little bit of heat. Not horrible. I mean, today it is 20 degrees, but after a few hours of riding you'll start to notice the heat coming off the engine. It's not horrible. It's predominantly on the right side, not so much on the left. Ducati have tried to manage it. Down here you can see these little, look like splitters. There's a flap in those. You can close that flap up, so in cold weather or if it's raining or whatever it is, you can close that up. When it does get hot, you can just flip that open and you've got fresh air that comes through, and it's routed so that it takes that engine heat away from you. So I would say it's a non-issue. Yes, it is warm, but it doesn't sit around. It doesn't kind of sit in a pocket like some bikes do, where you get stale air sitting there warming you up. It gets pushed out of the way, and that seems to work very well. So yeah, I'm keeping it kind of short and brief in terms of that. As you can expect, this V4 engine is just phenomenal. The performance is unbelievable. And that roar from that engine, oh. intoxicating. A thrilling ride, but it's also super practical.
So there's plenty to push it along, but obviously there is also plenty to keep all of that under control. The front forks are 50mm fully adjustable units with Ducati's Skyhook system. They offer full electronic compression and rebound adjustment, all tied into the riding modes. At the back end, again, a fully adjustable electronic monoshock mounted onto the aluminium double-sided swing arm, and the 19-inch front and 17-inch rear wheels are shod with the excellent Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2 tyres. Stopping duties are performed at the front by 330mm semi-floating discs, which are grabbed by a pair of Brembo M50 monoblock 4-piston calipers. A Brembo 2-piston caliper takes care of the rear. And a bloody good job they do too, especially with the control from the cornering ABS. The bike weighs in at 235 kilograms with an empty fuel tank, and when you consider what's on that, that's pretty impressive. It is a very well balanced bike which carries its weight relatively low. As I mentioned earlier, the suite of electronics is very comprehensive with 4 riding modes: touring, enduro, urban and sport, but each element of that mode can be edited if you wish, all through what may look like a complex but in reality is a very intuitive set of controls. It's only a single button to access the key functions, which I think is good. Onto ergonomics now, and although this does look like a big beast of a bike, with a seat height that's adjustable from 840mm to 860mm, it's actually pretty accessible for a lot of riders. I'm 5'10" with a 32-inch inside leg, and I've been riding with the seat in its highest position, and I can get the balls of my feet down securely. In the lower seat position, I can completely flat foot it.
First thing I thought when I jumped on this bike was that it just fitted me. You've got a nice bar position, you can see they're sort of swept back slightly, nice and wide, a really nice wide bar, lots of leverage, but a little bit more of a stretch than many of the kind of more adventure biased bikes. The seat's pretty good, got a narrow nose, so if you're sitting right at the nose, your legs are not too splayed out the tank. You've got a nice sort of slim tank here and it widens out, and if you want to shove your bum back a little bit in the seat, you've got a much wider base. So initially I thought this was a really comfortable seat, but having ridden the bike, 2 hours in the saddle is about enough. There's one thing I did want to commend Ducati on with this bike, and it's something that other manufacturers seem to have a problem with, and that is the adjustable screen. At the moment this screen is in its highest position, and I want to drop that down to its lowest position. There we go, one thumb on that and it is down. If I want to get it up, a little pull on that and it is up, and there's obviously adjustment in between. That's what it should be, it's just really simple, no need for an electronic screen. You have to sit there and press a button and wait for it to slowly rise up. That is it, easy. So Honda, I'm looking at you, NT1100, something like this, game changer for that bike. So as you'd expect from Ducati, fit and finish is spot on. We've got a really nice hydraulic clutch, super light action with that. Pull over here so I can show you another little bit of ergonomics. Down here we've got this little box, USB, phone charger, so you can tuck it all the way in there. I've got my keys in there for now. I've got an iPhone 12, and in a case that will go in there very easily, and there's also a little fan here to keep it cool so it doesn't get too hot. A simple thing, but useful.
One of the added elements of the Grand Tour is obviously the hard plastic panniers that the bike comes fitted with as standard. They integrate with the bike beautifully and are simple and easy to fit and remove, and are relatively slimline too. They don't stick out wider than the bars. I found filtering and general riding easy with them fitted, and they've got a very neat system where they float to help in high-speed riding. Combined, they have a surprising 60 litres of storage space, enough room for weekends away or longer trips if you pack light. There is also an optional top box in the accessory catalogue if you need to go the whole hog. When it comes to value for money, well, that is going to differ from person to person, I'm afraid, and 23,595, there is no doubting this is a lot of money to invest in a motorcycle, but it wants for nothing. So what is my overall opinion of the Multistrada V4S Grand Tour? Well, as a touring bike, it's phenomenal. It has everything you could ever want, and it will whisk you cross country in speed and comfort. It's also a handsome looking bike, and there's always that Ducatista family element that will inevitably be seducing you. I do have a couple of negatives stroke reservations though. The first being that this seat isn't as comfortable as I would have expected it to be for the type of bike it is. Now that of course could just be down to me, and other people will have a completely different experience, but it's just not as comfortable as I was expecting. But then again, maybe I was expecting too much. The second thing on my list is that she's quite a thirsty girl. At best, I've managed to squeeze 180 miles out of it before I've got the fuel warning lights on, and that's a mix of motorway, A-road, city and country lanes. To be honest, you're probably going to be wanting to stop and brake within that anyway, but it is something to bear in mind. So only a few niggles, but overall the bike does a hell of a lot right, and it's been a very enjoyable bike to ride. Thankfully, my bank balance means that no matter how much I like it, there's no way I could entertain buying one. And as a side note, my driving license is also thanking me for that too. It is a very, very impressive machine, and if you want to travel in first class, then this is definitely the way to go. So I hope you found the video useful. There was a lot of information to try and cram in, so I've tried to get all of the key stuff that I can in without making the video too long. But if you have any other questions, then let me know in the comment section down below. And all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon.